What is going on, guys? This is Jordan from the Undergraduate Survival Guide. Today we have a good old friend from back in the St. Mark's days. This is Daniel. Bro, how are you doing? How's the last year been for you since graduating?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, it's been graduated last year, 2019. Just been working. About it, really, man. Finding a job was hard enough. So I've just been working, the last 8 months. Had about 4 on furlough, to be fair. So,
That's crazy. Have you been because obviously I know you're working in law, but what was the process like from when you finished, when you actually started working?
all right, man. So basically, the way things usually go is, and if you're the luckiest person in the world, yeah, and you do your degree, you do those 3 years. While you're in uni, you apply for your training contract, yeah, and if you get one, say ideally you'd get one in your second year, yeah, and then you do your third year. Like you said, they recruit 2 years in advance, and you do your third year, then you do your LPC, which is just the legal practice courses. So have you ever watched Suits?
Yeah, brief. I've watched the first 2 seasons.
All right, basically. So how in America they have the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically a lawyer there is just like a solicitor and a barrister all in one. Over here it's split into 2. So if you want to go down the barrister route, you do the BPTC. If you want to go down the solicitor route, you do the LPC. Yeah, and that's something you do straight out of uni, masters, but not really. It's more like a tick box towards qualification. Yeah, and then after that, you do your training contract, which is 2 years long.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing to get. If you can get your training contract, that company will, if you do a big enough corporation, they'll pay for your LPC, which if you don't get one is about 16, 18 grand, something like that.
Wow.
So ideally you want to get that sorted. But I'm an idiot. Yeah. So once you've done all that, you're qualified, yeah? So from the first day of your degree, your bachelor's degree, to the end, the process takes about you're the mathematician, yeah? What did I just say? 3 years, 1 year, 2 years? 6 years?
5, 6 years, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. So from the start to the finish, that's it. Yeah. But obviously I didn't do that. I was I graduated and I was do I still want to do law? What do I want to do from here? Yeah. So it was for me, it was kind of so I started doing grad schemes, applications in things outside of law, and then I was I've already sunk so much time into it. It was always all almost like that, the sunk cost fallacy. Once you do it, you're I have to finish it. Yeah, but then I started applying for other things, and then I realized I actually don't really want to do anything apart from law, which is fair enough. I'm in that position now where I decided to stick to. I'll finish it.
Makes sense.
So a shorter answer would just basically been I've been pissing about for 4 years and I decided to take it seriously.
Yeah. This law seems because now that you explain it, I always thought you kind of get your degree, you apply for I know a lot of people that went to the law school, and I thought that was you do that for a year, you do a training contract for a couple of months or a year, and then boom, you're in the job. I didn't realize there were so many layers and so many. It sounds like you got so many applications as well. It's not a straight process. It's
yeah. So basically, Bristol is different grading, and so from Bristol, if you go on LinkedIn and you see someone who did he went Bristol Law School, they're future trainee here, future trainee there. It's they churn them out like crazy. Obviously, I went to non-Russel Group uni, right? And it's just not this. I don't know. Obviously, I'm just guessing, but I guess your career is another level. Because for us, it was we had one law fair here, one law fair there, and it was you just basically left to figure everything out your own. If you care enough, you go make the effort. But nothing's really put on in the sense that oh yeah, this is kind of how you should do it. So we never really had that kind of support. So what was your experience with careers out there.
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously I do engineering. And in Eng, I feel like, I imagine it's similar for other unis, but because we're quite well funded, within Bristol Engineering, we have like the ILO, it's the Industrial Liaison Office, and they hand out like, they just give jobs out for free. It's like any job you want, any internship you want. Our career service, they even have a self-sourced, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, if you know a company, let's say like, I don't know, Cars Limited, and they don't offer any internships, you can go through the uni and they'll pay you to do the job for free. Like, there are so many ways that Bristol just say, you know what, that irrespective of how good you are as a student, we're going to sort out your career and then call it a day. And I think a lot of Russel Group unis are similar, but I guess, like I haven't seen Kent, so I can understand how, and even other non-Russel Group unis, I see how they don't really have the resources for that.
Yeah. That's basically the sentiment. Like everyone I've spoken to that like have gone to a Russell Group uni and did do law or whatever degree really, they're like, yeah, we kind of get that support. And like looking back now, it's something I should have really considered. Like when I was picking, obviously like grades is a big factor. Like my grades weren't like horrible. I could have like possibly I should have like Liverpool was one of my insurance like things. I went to the open day. Yeah, like I took the train there. The train delayed for like 3 hours. Got there halfway through the day. I was chucking it down. I like looked around the city. There's better football hooligans and all that because it was one of those days. And I was like, no, I'm not going here. Done. I went to Kent. I saw like these fields are green and like it's just like rabbits everywhere, like nature, all that. I was like, yeah, it looks good. I picked it based on that. I was an idiot, but I mean, I don't regret my choice. Obviously, I had a great time. But like now, things would have probably been a lot easier if I went to a Russell Group uni. But you know what they say, like it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I guess like it's not like you're having not to throw shade at people who work in like retail, but at least you have a good job in the industry you want, and you can you know enough to make the right steps towards getting there eventually.
Yeah, it's like if you can always figure things out. And like I'm not saying like I am in my position because I didn't get the support I needed. Like if I wanted it, I would have got it. And for what it's like, I know you've always taken up these things like SEO and all of that. That like helps like underprivileged like poor colored kids basically.
Effectively, yeah.
And it's like I never really looked into these sorts of things now, and like since graduating, like I saw you've been doing it. I looked into it a bit more, and like I signed up to a few, and like the support you get from them is actually like crazy. Like you'd never think that people would dedicate like their time to fun things like this. So like having signed up to that, like you get mentoring, you get like coaching, you get all of that, which I should have ideally got from uni, but like at this point in time, it doesn't make a difference because you get it anyways. So I just basically. Like, if I knew about it sooner, I would have done it. So, like, I'd encourage everyone to, like, look into these things, especially if you're, like, poor and black or brown.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, not to go too much into, like, race or social status and stuff, but for a lot of us, we don't, like, it's one thing to not have access to opportunities, but it's another to not even know people who do.
Yeah, trust me.
I don't know, I imagine you're similar because we went through the same school, like St. Mark's, but I never knew anyone at St. Mark's who had any career outside of like, your parents are like bus drivers or cleaners. Like we're all kind of lower class, working class. I didn't even know you could be like, as far as I knew as a kid, like banking was just one thing. I didn't know about trading or back office, front office, like even like I didn't even know that solicitors and lawyers were different until like you just said it or until like a short. Like there are so many careers out there that you wouldn't even know about, let alone having the support to, build your CV around that. It's just crazy how much we don't know.
I did my, during uni, every summer I'd go and do like work experience paralegaling at like just this high street firm, And then, like after I met a few people, like after starting working in the city, I mean, I say work in the city, basically I do like file room work, like it's just shit work, but like it's, you gotta start somewhere. I mean, I'll build up eventually, but it's like when you meet these people from different backgrounds and like they've got these connections that like the work experience I was doing during summer is like nothing in comparison to the work experience they were doing. They were like doing what I was doing at like the highest level. And even, like, I'm sure we know, like, people from St. Mark's who were like considerably well off than us, and just because of that, they've got these connections from their parents and all of that. But I mean, having taken advantage of like these schemes and whatnot, like there's this one for lawyers, like aspiring lawyers it's literally called aspiring lawyers, which like you'd be an idiot not to take that up. And once I signed up to that, basically they'll review every application I put towards a law firm, like free of charge, just because like I applied to them and I was successful. So like now when like they'll like look through everything, they'll take out this stupid shit, they'll like they'll boost it until it's so much better, and like put me in a better chance, like better than to like have something I never would have had an opportunity to do before.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And this is all free of charge, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I was about to say as well, because I saw a service, I can't remember what they were called, and it's like, for mentoring, events, etc., for like young, disadvantaged students. And it's like £100 for membership. I'm like, how are you reaching out to poor kids and then making them pay for it?
That's the thing, man. Like if people are desperate enough for something, there's always a market for it. But it's like, it just seems so shady. I remember Michael was saying though, like, in his episode with you, he was like rare recruitment. Yeah. They'll take people who are literally just on the cusp. Like they went to good unis, they got good grades, they like did all of that, but they just need that one little push, and they'll get there eventually. But rare, like they just take these people and they'll just polish them up a little bit when they would have had like eventually got it anyway. Like even this thing I was talking about now, like I have to submit like a full on application. They only take about like 100 people a year. And it's kind of like, the reason I got that is like, and it comes down to like what I was saying earlier about like networking. Actually, I don't really think I went too much into that, but like basically the reason I got into this in the first place is I met someone at work, and her mom's a legal coach.
Wow.
Yeah. And like she went to like, her mom was like ex-lawyer, she's private school educated, like lovely girl. And she helped me out. Like she put me in touch with her mom, and her mom like basically took my application, flipped it around, and like that's the only reason I got into this in the first place. So it's like highly inaccessible for the general public anyways. So it's like that's why I kind of feel like they help you, but they don't really help you, like if you really need the help.
Yeah, that's true. I think one thing that's important, and I guess we'll go back in time briefly as well instead of talking about careers for the whole episode, but one thing that I value a lot more now is like, I guess, mentorship. Because you don't really get that one-to-one support like anywhere really. And like I really wish our school did more with like I don't know if you remember in St. Mark's, I think it might have been end of year 12, early year 13. They started doing these like life after St. Mark's talks. And they brought in like a couple of alumni just saying like, yeah, I do English at uni, it's pretty cool. You know, I've done a few things. But no one's really like actually sat down with us and said, look, like if you just apply for this or start doing that or have a look at this. No one ever did that before. Like I actually went out of my way in uni to do it myself. Yeah,
man. That's the thing. Like that was the thing about those life after St. Mark's talks as well. They bring in like uni students, but the end goal isn't to be a uni student. Like St. Mark's just wanted to push you to that next level, and that's what these people want to do as well. They just want to put you to the next level and then mark it down as like, yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? Like we need more. Like our end goal is obviously like nice jobs, obviously. But no one, they never brought in like a full-on lawyer. They never brought in like a full-on engineer. Like, this is what I did, and that's what you should do. I don't know. What's your take on that?
No, I completely agree. Like, even me myself, I remember I wanted to be physics and maths, and then just somewhere along the line, I thought, you know what, engineering's a bit more diverse. It opens a bit more doors. Let me just do that. Like, even to this day, I've never met an engineer. I don't actually know. I mean, to some extent, I know what the job is, but I've never sat in a building or spoke to, you know, a senior engineer, and I don't actually know specifically like what they do in a day to day, what the prospects are like, what the growth targets are like. It's a lot of speculating and a lot of looking online, but it would be great to have.
Then, but how do you know you'll enjoy the job once you start doing it?
Who knows, man? That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, that's why, like, that's what you got Diggy, you gotta like find these mentors and whatever. Like, that's what like LinkedIn's good for, apart from like people are bragging about how they gave like some poor bastard like a job.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, like I put a lot of weight into like internships and stuff like that. But even get like obviously you've graduated, it's too late now, but you don't really, no one told you before going in, like, by the way, make sure you apply for these internships in your second year, otherwise things are so much harder.
Yeah. Man, it's only like it's never too late, but it's also like it's just something you wish you knew, right?
Mm.
But like even now, when I apply for a training contract, I have to basically do an internship. Like, if I don't get one now, and I get one next year or the year after, I'll be like what, like 24, 25 years old doing an internship.
Mm.
Ugh, I can't. What could you do? I'll have to do like 2 weeks. Like, I'll be working. I'll have to take 2 weeks off just to go like intern in another firm in hopes of getting a training contract.
So, but I feel like law, like, what's the average age of people that do the contracts anyway? I'd imagine it'd be a bit older than like
Oh
21,
yeah,
22.
yeah. Like basically, I think is no one really gets a training contract until like 20. Well, I mean, I said no one. You like people like, especially from Bristol or like Russel Group unis, they'll like steamroll the whole process and like by like 24, 25 they're qualified. But like generally, I think the average is you're qualified by like 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not too stressed, but I don't want to be that guy who qualifies at 30. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the earlier you get it, the better, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like recently, I've maybe I'm just making excuses here, but I've caught myself saying a lot. Like when I'm at the end of my career, like what 60, who knows? It's gonna be 70 by the time we're done, like 70 plus.
Mm.
Like, I'm not gonna look back on my life and be like, I really wish I was practicing law like these 3, 4 years longer than I did.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are still in like our 20s, and like we do want to kind of take it easy. Like if I qualify, I'll be leaving the office at like what 10 o'clock, like maybe even 12 o'clock.
Mm.
I consider it like, is it really worth doing it right now? But I'm just making excuses, I guess.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know, but do you think it's any harder if you wait? Because like in engineering specifically, a lot of the internships or grad schemes you can't apply for after 2 years. I think some of them do like 3 or 4, but once you've been a graduate for like 5+ years, generally you can't really apply for it. You have to apply for the mainstream.
Really?
Yeah.
That's mad, you know. Nah, it gets easier on this side because it's like, unless you're just like pissing about for like the years after you graduate and like you basically only apply and you have nothing else going for you, then like I can see that getting harder. But like say most people, they'll graduate and then they'll paralegal for a few years. And once you do have that sort of insight, like paralegals, like more time they'll like try and qualify in the firm that they're paralegaling at once they have that in.
Mm.
Like once you have that sort of experience, you can then go to another firm and be like, I've really enjoyed doing X work here and your firm is really good at that. That's what I like doing. That's what I want to qualify into. So like, as long as you're being proactive, it gets easier, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because I guess in law they probably have a not necessarily a lower turnover, but you kind of have to have done law or at least conversion course to do it, right? Whereas when it comes to like consulting, banking, they kind of take anyone, anyone and everyone. I feel like it's a lot more, maybe not more competitive in a broad sense, but in terms of by numbers at least, you have way more people applying, and that's why they probably cap it off after like 3 or 4 years. So after that, apply for the normal stream as like an analyst instead of as a grad.
What was that? Could you repeat that, please?
Like, cause I feel like in law, if you haven't done law or law conversion, you can't really apply for it. So I think less people by quantity will apply for.
But you know what? Like that's why they recruit 2 years in advance. So if you like apply in your third year as like say if you wanted to get into like a techie firm, yeah, and like I know you're into that. So like if you wanted to then start to do law, yeah, you apply in your third year or like even after graduate. And like with those 2 years in advance, you then would do your conversion and then you do your OPC. And it's like easier than ever now for like non-law students, as much as I hate
it. That's crazy.
Like one of the firms that like I quite like the look, like I really wanted to apply to, like half of it trainee intake is non-law, and in fact, like about 40% of that is STEM.
Wow. I
So
kind of
always
get
a
it to
fancy
some
word.
degree. Mm. I feel like, is it like M&A has a bit of like finance in it, and I can't remember what it's called. Is it
Yeah.
TMC or something?
The,
Tech and something compliance or whatever. But I see a lot of and even Michael, he's doing patent law. Like there's a lot of
yeah.
a lot of access routes into tech, and it's like a STEM through law.
Yeah, like it's pretty crazy, like how fluid the market is now for like grads. You can literally have done any, and this is why I always say like I used to like shit on like English degrees or like psychology degrees, but really, as long as you do a degree, you can basically do anything.
Mm. Yeah, that's very true. I was the same, to be fair. I had a very, I guess, simplistic view of uni, where it's like, I mean, to some degree, I see what my point was back then, where STEM degrees and medicine is a lot more focused. You can literally do anything if you do STEM, whereas to some degree, English, the arts are limiting, but there's no shame in doing that. And fundamentally, unless you want to be an astronaut or a doctor, then it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah. No, but like, say, like I played myself thinking like that, because if I just did English, which I like enjoyed, I was good at in A levels, and if I did that at Russel Group Uni, so like for law, my entry requirements were like ABB at just a non-Russel Group Uni, yeah. So like I got that blessed, like I went to Kent, but if I took ABB and I did English at like Nottingham or something like that, yeah. I could, like, based on the fact that I went to Russell Group Uni, things would be a lot easier for me now, even though I just did English.
Yeah. Plus, I imagine it would have been a hell of a lot more fun at uni.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would have been a different person, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess on that, like, how did you find it studying at uni? In a nutshell.
Yeah, like, okay, so you know how law students are always like complaining about like, oh man, we got like so much reason to do, you got all this work.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have to do it, like it's you don't actually. In like my 3 years, this is like, I think I'm a terrible person to ask, like, especially like, I might be first like law student before.
Yeah, actually you are.
Man. So like the 3 years of uni, I think I must have gone to maybe about 10 lectures.
Damn.
Like, it was all recorded. I was basically living like that COVID lifestyle before COVID. So like everything was recorded. I just sit at home. I'd wake up whenever, like, because lectures, like, we don't have to sign in or anything. Like, do you guys are your lectures compulsory?
No, I mean technically they are, but not registered, so you can't afford to miss them as well.
Yeah. It's just kind of like that. Like, it was all recorded. It wasn't registered. I just like wake up and whatever time of the day I wanted, just sit down, like, just watch my lectures on times 2 speed. Like, I never missed a lecture, like, in the sense that I didn't catch a lecture, but I never actually physically went to them. And just these guys talk so slowly, man. If you just like times up the speed, you save like half the time as well. So I basically just sat at home every day, because like uni was on a hill as well. I'm not trying to like walk up like, every day. Like. So yeah, I just sit there. I'd watch the lectures. So you go to this, and then you go to the seminar questions, and I'd literally only read the articles that were relevant to the seminar question. Yeah. And they'd give you like 10 things to read. I'd read maybe like 3. Yeah. And then I'd go to the seminar, and like, this is the hack. This is the seminar hack for like everyone should start doing this. Yeah. The first question, everyone's sitting around like, oh no, I don't want to speak. I don't want to do this. You literally just answer the first question. Then you get the seminar leader's like, oh shit, this guy's done his work. But you get the ball rolling. And then once that's done, he's not going to look at you again, because you've made your contribution. You're done. You can even 5 minutes, like, you walk out 5 minutes after the seminar, that guy knows this shit, I'll allow it.
Fair enough. I'm taking notes.
Okay. Obviously, I just tried to hack my way through uni, which is not the best way to do it, but like, realistically, I picked law not even then what it was about, to be fair. I didn't really enjoy half of what I studied, but the other half, like, I loved, which is why I'm still, like, pursuing it.
Yeah, I hear that. How come you even applied for law in the first place? Like, what was your reasoning? Just like you bought suits on the weekend and thought, this is what I want to do.
You got me. No, that was basically it. I can't, like, you know me, man. Like, I was shit at math. I'd fall asleep in the lessons because it was just so dead to me. Like biology, I was kicked out of the lesson every like A-level class. It's just like English and econ are the only things I like. And I was like, econ had too much maths. I wasn't doing English. So law seemed like it's just one of those things you can leverage into doing any other professional job. So like halfway through, like up until like the end of second year, I still didn't consider myself like doing law as a career. Then I did like company law and banking law, and I was like, oh, this is kind of lit.
Does that not require maths?
Like, banking kind of did, but you got that cashier, innit? Like, you don't really think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's not like, it's just one of those things I didn't really think about. Like, and we must know like loads of people from St. Mark's like that, where the goal is for them to get you to uni. They don't actually care what you do at uni. And like, how many people do we know that like just did degrees for the sake of doing degrees? And I was actually one of them. Like, I just happened to pick something that was kind of useful.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do until like, after I even graduated. And that year is the toughest year of your relatively short life. Like, I came out, and I know like a lot of my friends now who've just graduated, probably the worst time in the world to like graduate. And they're like, I did my degree, but what do I actually want to do with my life?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Good like half a year to actually figure out like who I am. And like, it sounds kind of like like I went to some Buddhist monastery shit, like do some awakening. But no, it's actually mad to just sit there and be like, ooh, what do I want now?
That's the thing. Did you do any like, I don't know, like self-finding at uni? Living with the homies.
Yeah, man, I think everyone does that to an extent, right? Like, you don't really like, well, once you're like at home, and I've regressed back into who I was like during like St. Mark's, but my mom, like, I wake up, breakfast is ready. I come back home from work, like dinner's ready. Like, it's just I've never really had to do anything myself. I know this is like really, really like it's kind of almost like a meme and like Indian culture, like brown boys, they just take their mom as their life kind of thing. It's like, let's see who's kind of true, you know. I can't lie. But yeah, once I literally, I was just like turned to. I say even then, like my mom was just like, she'd get my brother to like drive food over to me in Kent, and it's like I never really like had to just be myself. If that makes sense. Like in the sense that I never had to like just work to like put food on the table and shit like that, and I still kind of don't. So like in that sense, I was like having like everything been provided for me, like how am I ever going to provide for my like self or like my future family and shit like that? So I just sat down and I was like, I'm actually an idiot. Like you've done shit like from like the age of 6.
I'll try.
Yeah, and so like all of that shit, like basically I had to think about how I'm useless and what I want to do to fix that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think for me, it's a bit different. Like my family circumstance, as you know, and for the guys that are listening, I've got 3 younger brothers and a younger sister. Like, as soon as I hit 18, mum's like, all right, you're not a priority anymore. You're on your own. Like, I've got all these other kids to deal with. So as soon as I hit uni, it's like crap, I learned to cook on day one, working at Domino's, doing all this other stuff. And like, contrary to that, I mean, it's great. I feel like I learned a lot about myself. But then, as you know as well, I ended up having to redo first year. Academics kind of went on the back burner because I was focused a lot more on what you can call bigger things.
Yeah.
Like, would you say you had not necessarily an easier run, but maybe a stress-free 3 years at uni compared to like maybe people that you see around campus that may be dealing with like always seem to be stressed about whatever the hell's going on?
100%. Like my dad, he and my mom, they're not exactly like high earning workers. So I get like the full maintenance, and because I'm the youngest, when I did run out of that, which was like incredibly hard to do because I got like £8,000, and my rent, I always pick like really cheap places. So I'd have like money to just burn basically. And when I ran out of that, somehow, like I have 2 older brothers, so they just like top that off. So I mean, I was obviously in a very like blessed position, but I kind of did take it for advantage. I just take advantage of that one. Like, and so I mean, I respect you for like doing what you're doing, because like I don't know how you do it, man.
Neither. Neither. Nah, it's a grind. Uni is such a grind. And I feel like most people kind of, like as you said before earlier as well, it's like, we kind of just do it for the sake of doing it. It's like, as far as you know, it's a rite of passage. It's like, I've got to get a degree in something to work in something. But people don't really know what they're getting themselves into. And even me, myself, I'm like, fuck, like this is so difficult. So much to do.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, man. Like, see, this is why I was like, I think uni was easy. Obviously, I didn't have all of this to worry about. And then I still like, was like incredibly lazy with my approach to the degree itself. Yeah. And it's like, that's why I literally, until I graduated, I was like, no, I'm a bum. I need to fix this. But who else do we know that's like actually struggling, man? Like, apart from me, like, Garrett was just like chill at home. When he was like doing his research year, yeah, I'd wake up in the morning, go down, he's on his PlayStation. Yeah. I'd maybe go to uni for a couple of hours, come back, take a nap, wake up, still on his PlayStation. Like, he's having the time of his life.
Yikes.
But it's not easy. He's turned it around, man. Like, getting in a relationship does that to you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that year, he was a bum. Got in a relationship. He, like, picked up, like, got 2-1 in his degree. Grew 2 inches, like, got new, like, wearing Armani suits to lectures. Like, he's a different man.
That's the thing. I feel like, I guess I've had the opposite experience of of relationships, but there's so many guys I know, and girls as well, to be fair. It's like, as soon as you get cuffed, suddenly it's like, you know what it is? Because you've got to pay for dates and stuff. So now it's like, crap, now I've got to get my shit together.
Wait, you pay for dates?
Back when I was dating.
Yeah. Nah, what do you mean? You get them to pay. Like, Fiona earns more than me. I've never paid for a date in my life.
Oh dear.
I'm telling you, man, I've had an easy life.
Literally, man. What was it like? I don't think I've ever asked you this. What was it like living with, your friend and your girlfriend for 3 years at uni? Well, for 2 years at uni.
Ah, mate, that was just the best time of my life. Like, obviously, you know, Fiona, right? Like, we're very, very different people. So, like, I'd basically just wake up, like midday, and I'd stay up until like 2, 3, like, and that was my schedule to get off my work. Because I always told myself I work better at night. It's a myth, but like, I just enjoyed working better at night. But she'd basically wake up, like 7, around about 7 every day. Like, have breakfast, go to uni, because like she had like registered lectures and like labs and all that. So she'd go to uni, basically like go to the library, stay there until like 5, 6, come back, cook, and she'd do work until like 9, and that was her day. So she was like very, very like organized, regimented, and I was just having fun with the boys basically.
Crazy.
Living with Garrett does that to you, like, so we like we're nothing, like we're so different. And like, obviously, to her credit, she got a first class degree, and like she's doing all of her stuff. So it kind of did make me feel useless, But I wasn't gonna let that like stop me from having a good time in uni. I can't lie.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Is that not like emasculating at all? I know so many guys that would never want to earn less than their girlfriend.
Oh mate, but I'm just not that type of guy. I don't really care. I have like no real problems with it. And if she like carries on doing that, like for the rest of my life, if she's on like double what I make, like I really will never ever see a problem with that, because like for how hard she works, she deserves that.
Mm.
That's not to say I want it to happen. Like obviously I want it.
Here we go.
No, I mean, you know, like, okay, basically, I was doing my revision earlier. I was listening to your previous episodes, yeah, and these guys, like incredibly smart people, like the way they come across, yeah, but they're all like, yeah, I have to be the best. I have to be like, who was the guy that was quoting like Michael Jordan,
Moses.
Yeah, I love that like mentality and all that, but that could never be me. I'm like, I just want to be like comfortable, you know.
Mm. Yeah,
Like, I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, I never really like care about being like. I like, also part of my revision. I watched the Michael Jordan documentary and I watched the Kevin Hart documentary, and I was like, all right, I'm ready now. Yeah, but it just I find it amazing, but it doesn't resonate with me like that. Like, I never think like, oh, this is not enough. I want more.
Mm. So what would you say
But
kind of drives you then?
What's that, sorry?
So what would you say drives you?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of thinking on this as well, you know. So it's like, all I like really want is like just give back to my mum and dad, yeah, and then provide for like my future family. It's like so like referencing the Kevin Hart documentary again. Yeah, there's this one scene in there where like his dad comes up to him and he's like, "Hey Kev, like, can I talk to you real quick? Like, in just 2 minutes of your time, yeah? Like, there's this thing I want to like." Have you seen the documentary?
Nah, I've seen both of his interviews on Joe Rogan though.
Fair enough. Right,
Yeah, enough. Go ahead and spoil it.
Yeah, so his dad comes to him and is like, "Yo, I need this thing. Like, it's like I'd really like to get it, but like the problem is it's like it's $7,000. Yeah, can you like help me out?" Like, Kevin just looks at me and he's like, "Oh man, like, you don't need to make this a thing. You want $7,000? I'll give you like 20 grand. Yeah, like it's fine. Like, don't make it awkward." That basically is, to summarize, that's the moment I want, you know. Like, if someone like close to me needs something, like, it's nothing. That's the only thing that will ever like drive me. I don't really care like about having like Lamborghinis in the front yard and like a house with like 10 rooms and shit like that.
Yeah, I hear that. Because I think it just comes down to the freedom to do it. Like, similar to you, I don't really care about having a mansion or Lambos or anything, but I want to be able to, like, on an off day, if I wanted to, you know, walk into a shop and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to buy that, and it won't affect me. Yeah. And
yeah, it's like, if you never want to be in a position where like, when like something goes wrong with your roof in your house, you're like, oh shit, I gotta take money out of my kids' like college fund now, and so like that's what I want to avoid, basically.
Yeah, for sure. But do you have like a budget then?
Would you like just a daily?
Like, I guess daily as well, but like, cause I guess like, my mentality on that, like I've thought about this recently as well in the last couple of weeks or so. Like, it would be great to be financially stable, but then I thought to myself, how much do I need to earn to be stable? And it's like, I have no idea, because I have to spend whatever I want, whenever I want. Like, have you got a more responsible approach to that, where you know exactly how much you need to, you know, to be content?
I mean, I saw there was like some study like a little while ago that said like around about 75, 80 is the ideal amount of money to make. Because if you earn more than that, chances are your job's like more stressful than it's worth. And that's what you'd need to basically just be comfortable. So I mean, like, that's the idea that's always like floating around in my head in terms of like figure. But like in day to day, I'm terrible with money, man. Like, I'm honestly like trash with money. So like what I usually do is every time I get my paycheck, I'll take like a proportion of that and save that immediately as like untouchable money. And I think that's what most people do anyway. And then I'll have like I'll have like a certain amount, say like about like 200-300 just for like bills and travel. And then whatever is left, that's like my like do whatever you want money.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a really simple way of doing it, but I mean, it's effective, right? I think that's why like most people would do that. But like, just on the other hand, like Fiona is like so much better. Like, she just basically saves like what 90% of the salary, I think. Yeah, we're like, I'm a mess basically.
Speak. Maybe you need a master's in education.
No, I'd be running away from like responsibilities if I did that. But I don't really subscribe to like doing a master's. I can't lie.
Yeah, but wouldn't the LPC just be a master's?
Yeah, exactly. It would, but like instead of me just doing like an LLM, which is just like a master's in law, or like what most people would do a master's on, like something like an area of law or like an area of engineering or whatever you're really passionate about. Yeah, I don't really like unless you're like incredibly passionate about and you know you're going to take your career down that specific route. I don't really think it's worth it, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I guess
otherwise it's just more like running away from like the real world almost.
Yeah, sure. Because I guess like an LPC and a training contract, a means to an end, right? Like you finish it, then you become a lawyer in that firm. Whereas a master's is kind of just another certificate to put to your name. Doesn't mean anything intrinsically.
Yeah. But like these days, because it's so competitive, I can see why people would do it just to get that edge. But realistically, I think work experience trumps like a master's any day.
That's true. But then I think it was
like in like law applications. I don't know how it's going to be like for you, but there's like a work experience section, and even if you just put like I worked at Tesco's and I got these skills from it, so like customer skills or like working under pressure and whatever, like from the recruiters I've spoken to on open days and stuff, that looks a lot better than like just doing a master's for the sake of doing a master's.
Yeah, for sure.
And what you've got like 120 part-time jobs, so you must be chilling.
Yeah. Fortunately enough, I've got enough experience. But I think it goes back to like what you touched on before as well, like with SEO.
I saw your internship game thing. Your CV looks mad.
Yeah, it's just a structure, to be fair. All the words are just like I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. But every third word's in bold.
No, man, but like the amount of things you've done in like in the last 5-6 years, crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I almost wish like I did more
now. To be honest, like like going back to what you said before about like SEO and random lot, it just like what they taught me more than anything is like it's how you word it, it's how you come across. Like communication is the difference between a good candidate and a bad one. Like I think I've even got like Domino's experience on there, but instead of just putting like I delivered pizzas, it's like I showed resilience riding through the rain. I was time management.
I told you about that legal coach that I spoke to you, like my colleague's mom. Yeah, and so I had like she helped me out with like a coaching session one time. Or actually, she helped me a lot. Like shout out Julie, but like she's helped me just change my mindset on like these applications so much because I spoke to her once and I was like, man, I don't really have anything to stand out. I've got like I've done nothing in my life. I've never worked a job, like a part-time job. I've only ever done like my work experience and like my current job now, but I've never done anything outside that. I've never shown like any form of struggle because I've lived a relatively comfortable life. Yeah. And she was like, no. Like my daughter, like private school, like she's had every opportunity she's ever wanted. She's lived a comfortable life. Like you know how my dad, like he tried to do like businesses and that. Yeah. So like basically even from like year 8, year 9, he was doing like catering and I'd go like on weekends and like help him out. She was that kind of shit is like what private school kids never had to do they've never had to like juggle their time to study and then work and help support the family and that sort of thing. And like once you know how to like tap into wording that right, like you've gone clear. That's something only you guys have. Like you guys as in like underprivileged kids.
Mm.
And if you can spin that, like that just sets you miles apart from everyone else who's like applying.
Yeah.
And I thought I was just wasting my time just helping this guy out.
Sometimes you are. But nah, like that's the thing. Like, 'cause I think once I attended one of those rare events, it's like, oh crap, and I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense to me. I guess like in football, it's like the way you stand to receive the ball kind of improves the way you play. Like if you're facing the goal versus if you're flat and facing the pitch, you can do like you just play better like that. I started doing that with my CV. I think they told me I think it's the XYZ method or something. And it's like saying I accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. And it's like, instead of saying a stacked shelves, you can be like, I accomplished organization as measured by a stacked shelf by picking up cans efficiently. And it's like, I just started doing that and putting random numbers in my CV, like, oh, I increased social media presence by 50% by tweeting.
To be fair, man, like, yeah, this is basically what every job is. You just make what you do seem more complicated than it actually is. That's why people pay like lawyers and engineers money. What they just have these things. Like, I bet it's not even that complicated, you know?
I doubt it is. Like, I feel like law is just like knowing a case and then referencing it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's a little bit more complex than that, but you know, like it can't possibly be that hard. It's just a lot of the more the more experience you have in anything, obviously, like the more complex stuff you take on. But by that point, you're equipped to deal with it, right? Like I see these partners charging like £500 an hour for like literally just sending an email.
Damn.
That's the life, man. Obviously, it doesn't go into their pocket, but like it's just the fact that you can do that. Like an hour of your time is worth £500, and all you've done is make a few calls, send a few emails, like crazy.
Yeah, for sure. That's nuts, man. What would you say is the hardest part of what you do?
That's what I do. So basically, like the structure of the hierarchy in a law firm is like right at the bottom is like an admin assistant. Yeah. Then above that is a paralegal / legal assistant. Like it depends on the law firms, one side than the other. The one I'm at is paralegal, then it's legal assistant. Legal assistant basically does what a lawyer does, but they're not qualified. Then above that is trainee solicitor. Above that's associate, then senior associate, partner, senior partner. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm right at the bottom. I basically just like, you know, so I'm in like the litigation team for the most part. And they need like the bundles and disclosures and witness statements to like submit to court. Yeah, okay. So like, it's just basically like all the evidence they submit. Yeah, I basically make those bundles. Yeah, and it's like, it's just the hardest thing I'd say is like, because it's just 2 people per team, and this team is massive. Yeah, 2 admins per team. It's just like everyone, and in court, like everyone's just like running around and like until the last moment, you don't really put everything together. So it's like, like 50 people in this team, and they always come to us like, oh, can you do this now? Can you do that? I need to submit this by like 4 o'clock today. So it's just like managing time, really. Which even though like I'm at the bottom, like these are like important skills I'll probably need at some point. So I can't really hate on it.
Yeah, that's true. And as far as I know, there's no way to skip that. Is that you can't just like become a training solicitor on day one.
Yeah, man, but that's the thing. These Bristol bastards do it.
Huh.
Like straight out of uni, they get their thing, and then for 2 years they just piss about, do their LPC, and then like they're straight into like being a trainee.
Law is so weird, man.
It is, man. It is. Like, someone could be a paralegal for 6 years and they could lose out on the opportunity to become a trainer just because someone straight out of uni has done a better application.
Mm.
It's just about how you sell yourself, really. And that's just basically the secret to life.
Yeah. It's about who you know and how you know them.
Yeah. Like, even, so like, let's take your podcast, for example, yeah?
Mm.
Like, you package information in like a pleasing way and you give it to like, the general public that you'd like as students, yeah? But really, like, it's a good system because you're just getting students to talk to students.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like no one here has any, like, out of all your guests, like me the least, no one has any like superior knowledge that like they're imparting or anything like that. It's just like this shared experience everyone's gone through, and like it might help someone. Like one line here, one line there might help someone, and it's like people will listen because of that.
Yeah, you can't just ruin my business plan, but
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot behind the scenes that you have to do your editing and recording. Like, it takes a lot of time, of course. No one's really willing to do that, but it's not like you're like getting some next industry leader on the podcast to be like, oh guys, to get to this position, like you need to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, not to like shit on your work, obviously. Like, I mean, I'm still an avid listener. I love the show, 5-star rating, man. But like, do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, of course. Because I guess my approach of this is like, I talked about it recently with my friend as well. Like, his episode will be out next week. You can check that out when it's there. But,
of course, I always do.
I love it. But now we're talking about how to be fair, let me just leak out the whole part of the conversation where it's like, in the black community, we kind of look up to, you know, like Will Smith's, the Charlemagne's, the Joe Biden's, guys at the very top. And you kind of think like, wow, you know, maybe I can be something like that. But we often overlook the people in transition, like, you know, the producers that are still grinding out, the poets that are still writing, the podcasters that are still, you know, trying to get their stuff done, the engineers that are still in uni. And one thing that I want to do with this podcast is kind of bridge that gap so you can realize that, you know, I'm not just going to wake up mega rich. I'm not going to wake up with a training contract. I got to actually put in, you know, these steps in place to eventually get to those positions.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's the secret sauce. I was talking to to someone the other, like a few months ago. I was like on one of these like coaching sessions, and I was like, I really like how, when doing an interview with a partner, just like scares the shit out. And like, how am I supposed to do that? And she was like you are literally what they are, just like 30 years earlier. Like they've done their 30 years. They were in that exact same position. All they have on you is time. They're not like gifted any more than you are. They're not any more like smarter than you are. Like, it's just literally experience, and that's not something you can like. That's not something you either have or you don't. It's more like something you'll get over time.
Yeah, for sure. You can't cheat time.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're a Bristol graduate. I'm joking. Bristol's my city. I love it.
Come on, gang. Represent. I hear that though. That's a good perspective to have, because it's like, sometimes you literally just need to wait, or, you know, just need to work, just keep at it. Yeah. Like, even me myself, it's like, oh, I really wish I could just graduate. I really wish I could just get this podcast to like 1 billion views. But fundamentally, it's like, you really just can't cheat these things. It really just comes down to working and waiting.
Yeah, it's just time, man. Like, the way this is kind of like where my opinions get a bit like like problematic. Like, in my mind, like my life, I can literally like see my life trajectory. Yeah, like what in 30 years I'll be like a partner at some level. I mean, if I want that, but like right now I do want that. But like 30 years down the line, I'll be like a partner at some law firm. In like 5 years time, I'll be like qualified, etc. Like, literally, that's just inevitable. Like, it's happening. Like, I have control over it in the sense that it's like the harder I work, the sooner that happens. But like, it's like time's gonna catch up. Like that's gonna happen. Like if I don't do the work, it'll just take longer. But if I do the work, it'll take shorter. But like that's happening. Like in my mind, I see no other like future.
Yeah, I get that.
It's literally what we were just saying about like cheating time, isn't
it? Yeah. Now, to be fair, that's the right approach, because it's like, as long as you know where you're going, the only thing that can, determine whether you get there or not is how quickly you work, right? Like,
yeah.
Obviously there are some things you can't account for.
Obviously, like luck comes into it. You're right.
Yeah. But you can't predict luck, I guess, is the lesson.
Yeah. Generally, like people are more lucky than they are unlucky. Well, I mean, most people.
Yeah.
Like fortune favors the prepared. I don't know. Luck favors the prepared. You know, I'm trying to check now.
That's how it goes. That's how the pods go. I want to ask, like, what was, I don't know, like, how did you, looking back on uni, were you like happy the way you did it? Or like, would you change anything if you could? Or would you go back?
I would change a million things if I could go back. Like, I don't think anyone ever looks back on uni and they're like, oh man, I did everything right. It's like, I would have like engaged in more societies. I would have like spent more time, like studying probably. I mean, to be fair, like the two one's good. Like that's all you'll ever really need. But at first, oh man, that is, I don't know. I mean, it's more of a pride thing, really. Like, you're not going to not get a job because you don't have a first, for the most part. But it's like, I would like, even societies now, because like I'm doing applications. Let me read one out for you. Like, one of the questions. It will lead it. Give it a second. Yeah. So it's like, one of the application questions is, there's 8 questions. They're all 250 words each. So like, it's like 2K words for an application, which is why I hate law, man.
Crazy.
So one of the questions is, what is your most significant achievement to date outside of your academic career? And another one is, please tell us about your personal interests, positions of responsibility, scholarships, awards, prizes, etc., etc. Yeah. I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
I do, man. So, like,
yeah.
Obviously, I would have gone like for the society, done like taken a position of responsibility, like some next treasurer of like art society or something. I don't know, but just so I have something for my application. Basically, uni is just basically like pulling all these things together so you can make a good application for a job. And I never saw it that way, and I really should have.
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, it's about getting a job, right? Uni is literally just a stepping stone to work.
Exactly. And if you literally just go do your degree and leave, like have a good time, go on a few like nights out and leave, you've done it wrong. Like you actually need to like join like some sports society or like take a position up here or there or like do a part-time job or something.
Yeah. To be fair, you could put for your greatest achievement, say you won the John Potter Cup.
When did we ever win that?
Hey, they don't need to know the dates, man. Just implemented a 2-1-2 formation.
Oh yeah, mate, I'm gonna put like achievements like funniest guy in sixth form, you know.
The thing is, it will work if you just word it right. If you word it right, like you have to use your interpersonal skills.
Really works. What? Wait, do we need to give context to that?
Yeah, why not? For the culture. I'll let you tell it. It's your episode.
That's just being lazy, right? Okay, all right. So yeah, basically sixth form. This isn't the only thing I've ever won in my life. Yeah, sixth form prom awards. Everyone got like their one award, the like prom king, whatever, like best dressed, etc., etc. The only 2 people that had to share an award for like the funniest people in the year were you and I.
Come on.
Because of racism. I think that's it. Like, should have been like, there should have been 2 awards, mate.
I can't even think. Did a single every other award was given to a white person? Now that I think about it,
It was, apart from best dressed.
wasn't best dressed girl was Shivani. Best dressed girl was Patrick.
Yeah. Shivani, because she rocked up in like Indian wear, they were like, oh, if we don't, then we're actually racist.
Yeah, to be fair, they couldn't not give it to her because that would be actually racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, school was something else, man. How did you make, like, looking back on St. Mark's now with a more mature lens? What did you make of it? About 7 years? 6 years?
7 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time I look back on my life, there's just so many things I wish I'd done better. But I guess that's everyone, right?
Mm.
Oh, actually, no, you regret nothing in St. Mark's when you thought you were like king of the world.
Everything I've ever done has been the best thing, like, ever.
Say what?
Wait, you're low-key cut out there.
Oh, shit, my bad. No, because, like, I mean, I'm sure, like I told you before, but, like, literally, before I came to St. Mark's, like, literally that year before I moved to the country. So, like, I was experiencing all this and, like, just moving to, like, a whole new country all at the same time. So I was like, I wish I wasn't as much of a freshie in, like, year 7, year 8.
Did you ever feel like, cause I know Brennan talked about in his episode a bit, like, of identity, not really knowing who he was or where he came from and stuff. Did you ever feel that as well?
Yeah, literally to this day, I still feel that. Cause, like, who I am at home, yeah, is not the person I am with my, like, when I talk to my mom, like, I have the fattest Indian accent. Because in my mind, like, she won't understand me unless I speak like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm a completely different person to who I am with, like, just friends, yeah? And, like, the person I am at work is, like, a completely different person as well. And it's just, I really, and I've spoken to people about this, and they're like, no, you're chatting shit. In the sense that, like, they have no idea what I'm on about. But because, like, Indian culture, yeah, and this is not like for every person in India or like every Indian, but it's like you're almost raised to be like just really like polite, or at least in like the area where I'm from, you're raised to be like really like the best example would be, when you call up like customer service, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an Indian dude on the other line. They're like, "Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." Like, and they're like, "Oh, very like pleasing to the person." Like you have to be polite. You have to be this. That's like how my parents raised me. Yeah, and like Fiona's noticed this as well. Like when we go out to eat or whatever, and the waiter comes, yeah, I'll like immediately switch the way I speak, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah. Like my voice goes higher. And literally, like, I feel like I'm always just changing who I am just to fit a certain situation. And I think that's like, partially due to like moving countries and that, like, sink or swim, you have to fit in like, especially in London, in school in London, like, unless you're like one of us, like, you can't like, because we used to ostracize a lot of people. And I've been through the same thing. And like people that came to the country, I was like, oh, look at this freshie, like 5 years later. It's very like sink or swim, and like to this day, I still don't really know. Like, I mean, okay, I'm being dramatic. Like, I know who I am, but it's like I can't control how I talk to like a partner at work, because I'm still very much the like a child, like just like trying to serve them, being like, oh, would you like something? Like, should I get you a coffee? And I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? That's not your job.
Yeah.
It's tough. But like, we'll figure it out.
To be fair, I know a lot of arse kissers around the world, so
Right, that's how you get to the top. Right? No, but like that's what I was like drawing comparisons to your other guests before, where they're all like, "Yeah, man, I have to be the best. I have to be this. I have to be that." Like I don't think I'll ever be able to see myself like being like that, just because of how different in terms of culture I was raised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting to hear because, like, obviously, like you will know as well, most of my guest audience so far have all been like black guys, or, from working class backgrounds. Vast majority of them have done like economics. Like, it's a lot of similar minds. So even me myself, is like everyone's saying, yeah, I want to be the best. I want to be a MD one day, making like 400K a year before tax. And yeah, like it's nuts because I think even me myself, I never really thought about it in that much depth before uni. I was like, I am who I am. I do what I do. And I never thought twice about it. I think that's why it was so easy for me to just joke around and be chill back and funny in school, because it's like nothing really mattered anyway. It's like,
Yeah.
one day I wear blue, the next day I wear green. It's just a thing. But you start to realize that people have these, not complexes, that's a negative word for it, but it's like, people have this like proper identity crisis, or there's like, who actually am I? What actually defines who I am as a person? And it's like, it's always fascinating to hear about it, because I don't, I'll never be able to get it, but I understand.
Man. But do you think like, say the way you and Michael have always been like I have to be like the top of the class kind of, like I have to do this, I have to do like if I'm not the best, then who am I kind of thing. Do you like what do you think like caused that? Because you said you've always been very comfortable, but like what do you think caused that personality type that you are to be the one you're most comfortable with?
For me, I guess it comes from being, an older brother. Like, I've always looked at my little brothers, I want to be. I don't know. I don't know if you have a similar thing from the youngest, but I've always had this idea where it's like, you have to be, as an older person, you have to be better than them. And then I follow that competitiveness through to school. Like, I don't actually care about beating Michael in the test or being the best at maths or whatever. It's like, it's just more about being able to say it in a group environment. And even that, like, I've never tied it to my identity. Like, it's always been like, Jordan is smart. It's not smart as Jordan. Like, I don't, if I wake up tomorrow and everyone's way smarter than me, I'm not going to feel offended, because at the end of the day, like, as I said, things are the way they are. But I guess, and I guess in a very loose sense, I care a bit, I care a little bit about having that, that, I haven't got the word for it, but as I said, like, saying in a group environment, like if we're sitting down in KFC, it's like being able to say, oh, look, we got the highest in maths. Like,
fair enough.
It's about having a social edge as opposed to, yeah.
It is like a source of pride as well, obviously, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't think like we used to, whenever we used to go KFC and stuff, like let's take James or no, let's take Garrett for example. Yeah, like he was never going to come out and be like, guys, like I'm the shit. Yeah, like bow down to me, suck my dick, kind of. Like he was happy being like that, playing that role of like most of the time being the butt of the joke, just being that guy that provided like comedic effect. Obviously, a completely different person now, like walking around with like a woman on each arm and shit. But like,
yeah.
But like back then, he was like happy being that guy. But like everyone sort of like fell into these roles where it's like I have to do this, like I'll play this certain role. I always find that shit like that kind of interesting,
To be fair, I feel like Gareth's like, not an anomaly, that's a very negative word, but I look at the way he handles his business. I'm like, I've never seen anyone move like that.
2 years living with the guy, he's like, I don't know how he does what he does. It's like he'll like trip down the stairs, and then like in the process of doing that, I don't know, I'm going to that one.
Yeah, I was like, where's this going?
No, he's just, nothing he does makes sense, like literally nothing he does makes sense.
Man, yeah, he's going to be an interesting guest to have on in the future. It'll just be 20 minutes of him saying like Mortal Kombat or something, and then I have to just turn it off.
Yeah, no, I'll never forget that day. Like that was the day he became my mortal enemy, when we went to James's thingy. Like, you remember we were doing what was it, like forfeit if we lost the game?
Yeah.
And we were playing like, was it Mortal Kombat? And it was like, so I think you were playing Elroy?
Played Elroy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, if you won, you get to send a message from his phone kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah. And then like, we were all doing like bets like that. And I was against Garrett. And Garrett was like sitting there like, oh man, like what are the controls? Like, how do you play this game? Like all that shit. And then the thingy, the bet was, whoever loses has to shave their beard. And like, as brown guys, that's all we got. Like, if we don't have a beard, like who are you? Like, this ties into my identity crisis. So it's like Garrett was like, oh no, I can't do this, man. Like, it's like, how do you play this game? And I genuinely never played the game. Like 1 second in, this guy starts like slapping me out. He doesn't let my body touch the floor. He's like playing keep-ups with my character, whatever. It was just like within 15 seconds, game's over. And ever since then, man, I've just been plotting on how to get him back.
I'll never forget that as well, because he said, I don't know how to play. I've never seen this game before. And I think James pointed it out, like, you were picking characters. He went straight to, like, gym or something. Changed his costume.
Hey, that should have been the fair signal. Should have backed out right there.
Oh, man. Funny days, man. It's crazy how, I guess how much free time you had in school to literally just mess about and do nothing, and it had no consequences.
Bro, we'd stay in, like, AFC until, like 6, 7 o'clock. Like, what were we thinking?
Honestly. To be fair, now that you say it, 6 doesn't sound that late. But when you bear in mind we finished school at like 3 o'clock.
We had homework, bro. Like, we don't have that shit there.
Honestly, yeah. And the thing is, like, because school is Hounslow, I lived in Hayes, it's like, it took me like an hour and a half to get back. I was getting back at like 7:30, having dinner at 8, just going to sleep because like the whole day was spent in KFC.
But back then I used to think like how's he doing it, like traveling that far? But then like once you start working in London, you're like, oh, shit gets deep.
For real. How long is it for you to get to work?
Like if everything goes well, like I catch a train, switch over, like, and I wait only 5 minutes for the next train or whatever, like bus or whatever. It will take me like an hour and a half.
Flipping hell, man.
But that's like best possible scenario.
Is it even, well, I mean, obviously you earn a lot more than you spend on transport, but surely that's a big cost having to get trains and buses every morning and evening.
Yeah, because we're like, I guess you're probably the same as well, like zone 6 for you?
I think I'm like 7.
Oh, man. Yeah, zone 6 is like $2,500 a year. Like that's if you get the travel pass. You have to commit $2,500 a year on the travel pass. It'd be more if you don't. And like I did that. I got the travel pass like 1 month before lockdown.
Well,
so for like the next 5 months, I was just like losing money. Well, I mean, I cancelled it obviously, but I would have just lost so much money.
Have you been working from home this whole time?
No, man. Because of the nature of my job, I have to go in and like make bundles and like physical copies and all that. Like I worked from home the first month because when they would like trialing like e-bundles and like on PDF and stuff. And I worked from them, but there wasn't like enough work to do, so they just furloughed us for like 3-4 months, and then called us back to like just basically go around and move boxes.
Damn, that sounds so crazy, man. Yeah,
but it's just one of those things where like whenever you're doing something you just really don't want to do, like the only way I get through it is like, oh man, I'm gonna tell my kids I literally start from the bottom. Like I knew Drake was my best friend.
That's the way it's gotta be.
Yeah,
that's literally the way it's gotta be. Me and will.i.am are homies, man.
Your kids will never know the difference.
That's the thing. I'm going to tell my kids the world actually ended in 2012.
You stopped it, like just squad stopped it.
Literally, we were chilling in KFC. Elon Musk walked in, said some shit about flying cars.
Yeah, he gave me a Tesla, but I gave it away to charity. Like, what can you do? I'm just so selfless.
Literally. Do you find it weird? Like, this is a completely off topic, but something that I've come to terms with recently. But like, I imagine you, of your parents, you don't really know much about them, apart from the few things they told you, whether it be true or not, who knows, but that's kind of what you got to go by. you think it's crazy how like when we get old and we have our kids, like our whole lives are going to be documented on like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and like you can find out whatever you need to know in like a second.
Yeah. I get you, man. That's why I'm not going to add my kids on social media. You got to make them think like you are someone you're not. Right? You got to be like, oh man, like I was actually like vice president, but you will never know. Like it's just if they know every mistake you've ever made, like it's just everything they say will just undermine. Like whatever you try to tell them will be undermined. Like so I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was talking to one. Like I mean, I was there, and like I was in the room, and he was talking to one of his friends, and he was like, "Yeah, man, like you remember those days where we used to come back at like 4:00 in the morning, like crazy nights and all of that, yeah." And like this guy does not let me come back after like 1 on a night out or whatever. And he's sitting here chatting shit about like the good old days, yeah. But like now that I know that, like I'm obviously not going to listen to him anymore. So like if my kids like they know everything about me, they'll like going off on a tangent again, yeah. But like you know when you're growing up, your parents don't really like seem like human. They almost seem like the kind of overlord figure, just like telling you what to do and like providing food for you. Or as soon as you grow up and they seem human, like you just kind of see like all their flaws and all that. I'm never gonna let that happen.
He's gonna be a god indefinitely.
Yeah, I'll basically just WhatsApp my kid. I'll never let them come face to face with
me. They'll just wake up to a morning briefing email from the dad. Just Damn. We're getting cancelled for this podcast, man. So far what people have learned is that not to work hard at uni, to have your girlfriend do everything, and to never see your kids.
Okay. No, like, obviously I had to work hard enough to get a 2-1, but like even then, that wasn't really that hard, if you know what I mean. Like especially law. I don't know about other degrees, but it's kind of like over glorified, like how hard you work, kind of. I mean, I'm sure in engineering, like that actually, okay, fair enough. I can appreciate that. That's probably like a nightmare, but in law, like basically, you know how I don't know how it is with you, but they release the coursework on the first day the term starts, yeah, for us.
Okay.
Perfect module. And you can kind of like, they will give you like 5-6 questions and they're like, answer one of these, yeah, for your essay. So I'd basically only ever really pay attention for that 1 week where that topic was covered. And everything else didn't really matter because you were never going to get examined on it because the exam's only going to be 3 topics anyway. As long as you revise about 5-6 topics out of like 12, you're chilling, you're calm.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, to be fair, that approach.
I mean, like, I wouldn't say like that's what is the best approach, but like if you literally just want to pass and you've got like a lot on your plate, like I mean, I obviously didn't, but if you do and you have like a part-time job and stuff, I'd advocate for that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've heard that a lot. I think it's a bit different in engineering because like we have about 6 topics per year, and then every exam is split. Well, most of my exams are split. Section A, which is like the first 3 topics, and section B is the second 3 topics, and both of them are like pick 2. So basically, you need to know at least 4, at least 66% of your degree, otherwise you're kind of screwed. And even then, there's a lot of like carryover between them.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot about essay subjects, like the same thing you say, where it's like the start of the term you get your assignments and you just have to work towards it throughout the year, or for the term, sorry. Yeah, like I completely get behind it. Like obviously for me it's a bit different. Like I like engineering and I want to pursue that career long term. But I know a lot of people, as you said as well, who just do their degrees for the sake of doing it. And in that regard, like there's no shame in just saying like on day one. I found this actually. Someone actually said this in my first lecture in first year. The professor's like, engineering, blah blah blah. This girl puts her hand up and says, "So what's going to be on the exam?"
Yeah, man. Like you got to do what you got to do. I'm sure she probably had like 3 kids, and like she had to like go take care of her sick grandma. Like you never know.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, but like for essays, I think I only learnt about like what maybe like 25% of my degree, just because like it's so disjointed. Like obviously what you learn in one gets carried over to another for you, but like for us, what you learn in like say company law is like so like removed from what you will learn in like criminal law. So like there's never any carryover. You only need to learn the bare minimum in each module. You need a scam, man. I don't know, I'm deep in that.
Yeah, the more I think about it, like, your degree really isn't a fair valuation of like what you've done over those 4 years. It's literally just a couple of tests.
And the mad thing is I don't need any of it. Like what you actually practice as a lawyer is what you learn on your LPC. Obviously it would have been great if I built up great habits to then like equip myself to do the LPC, which I'm going to have to start from like scratch for now. But that's, who knows how many years down the line anyways.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I was a terrible person to bring on. I'm sorry.
What I'll do is I'll sit down with Fiona next week and just...
No, man, she actually killed it there. Like she did everything right.
Yeah. I gotta speak to her more, to be fair. I'm so sad about, what did fuck. There was something I did, I can't remember what it is. It's like deeply repressed. That just made me think, you know what, these lot don't like me. And I just never spoke to her ever again. It was probably just like all of sixth form to me.
To be fair, man, there was that whole group that like didn't rate you, Michael. I don't know, but to be fair, I was talking to Aura about this the other day, and I was like, why did everyone hate me in sixth form? What did I do? I was just minding my own business.
Yeah, okay, next question is...
What is it? It's because we're like trendsetters, isn't it? We're different. We walk our own thoughts.
It's because you had a different colour suit.
It's racism, mate. That's it. It's racism. I cracked it.
Basically. To be honest, like, I feel like it's low key. I mean, I don't think school was racist by no means, but there was definitely like a hierarchy of student, and it's not necessarily down to race, but I think a lot of I don't want to say names, but there were certain groups that I'm like, you lot have so much power for no reason.
Yeah. What you mean within like not including like teachers, just within like students?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess you could also say the way the teachers handled those students as well. Like I know a certain girl in like a lot of her classes got away with so much because she is who she was. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. I get you. But I don't know. I think for what it's worth, we got away with more than we should have.
That's true.
Like, all you really need to do is like bang grades to an extent. Like I remember in GCSE with Ichana, like we used to just basically did you know how like in year 11 we're gonna like phones out? Yeah, just because Ichana's Ichana, like he could just put headphones and listen to music, just work on his essay or whatever. No one ever said anything.
What? I hate Beckett, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a cool Ichana. That's a real one. I've got a funny story about Uche, actually.
Oh, mate, I'm ready for it.
This was year 13. I had an open day at Uni of Oxford. You know, that small uni up north. Not sure if you're familiar with it. Well, not even up north, to be fair. It's like west of London. But anyway, point is, I was with Zara. We're walking around one of the libraries. I did the whole open day. One of the engineering professors, I was told we're going to be doing a talk in the library, one of the libraries. So I was in the library looking for this guy, and suddenly this significant, like crazy animated figure jumped to my back, screaming, just Jordan! In the middle of Oxford's biggest library. I turn around, I see this like dark figure in a hoodie, a face mask. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm being robbed. Turns out it's Uchana. And then I look around and see all these upper class white boys just staring at these two, should I say, urban youths. Just shouting in the library. I'm like, fuck's sake. I'm never getting into this institution, man.
That's legit why you didn't get in, because of that one little interaction.
Literally. The whole, what are they called it? The faculty officer or the dean or something, like, all of them were just watching at that exact moment
Thanks, Pop. Yeah.
as
No,
two contemporary
so you say
scientists.
that because I have you like what Garrett has the exact same story of each other. Like in Kent, Garrett was just on some night out, yeah,
Mm.
and like just minding his own business. And then out of nowhere, like this figure comes up to him and just starts like just starts like doing the exact same thing. And then he goes, he steps back, he's like, "You saw nothing, yeah," and he just
Mm.
left. Like never saw him ever again after that point. This guy's just everywhere and nowhere at the same time, man.
Honestly, I wonder what he's doing. I gotta give the guy a call, man.
I know he's probably changed his number 7 times since then.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably listening to us right now. It says there are 3 people in this call.
Oh shit, he's outside my window.
Oh man, I'm so mad about not being the most funny in the year, man.
I mean, I'll pretend like I didn't exist. To be fair, man, that vote was rigged.
I reckon it was.
It should have been, no, actually, that should have been some chat shit. You know who is actually hilarious? Farjad. I don't know, like, if you expect him, what?
We did a little bit in school, but not since like year 12.
Once he showed up with that Rubik's Cube, I knew it was game over. Like, this guy is gone clear.
Honestly, I remember. To be fair, that's a different point. I might ask as a question afterwards. But like Farjad, we had a guy called Gorav. I don't know if you remember him, the magician.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had bare guys that just came in for year 12, and a lot of guys never made it. I think it's kind of that's kind of the talker point I was going to get onto. Like, it's nuts how people, even before uni, it's like, I want to get into A levels, want to do maths, want to do physics, history, French, whatever, and like it's way harder. It's so much harder than people make it out to be. And then you also realize that it's not even that important in the long run.
What do you mean, like your A-level choices, or?
A-levels as well, yeah, but mostly just like basically any choice you make after GCSEs. Well, even GCSEs aren't even that important.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right, man. But it's like, once you get your first job, I guess nothing matters that you did before that.
Mm.
It is like it is what you said. Like it is more hassle than it is worth, considering like it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
You need some sort of indication of stability, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's crazy though. Like, what was that? That like it's a bit of a joke now, but that like Einstein quote, like you can't judge was it a fish and its ability to climb a tree or something?
Yeah, along those lines.
But it's just one of those things. Like, do you wish like you did better?
Not really. I mean, I can see when I was younger, I thought I wish I was more better informed. Like if I knew like, because essentially the way I look at it now, I was like, all you got to do is know where you want to work and then fill in the gaps along there, like whether you need a degree or not, whether you need like whatever A levels, GCs, whatever. But then me in my own life, looking back on my own choices and expectations, I feel like everything was just like, I haven't been held back, I guess is my point. It's not like I can't do what I want to do. The doors I needed to have open are still open. So I can't really regret, not working as hard if like my future's still very much possible.
Yeah.
Like, albeit it might take an extra year or 2 years or whatever, but I'm still going to get there, which is what's important. And it's hard to be sad about that.
Yeah. No, I'd echo the same sentiment. I'm in the exact same position. Like, in terms of like, I don't know why like firms still want to see like your GCSEs and A levels, but like fair enough. But like in terms of all the opportunities I want to apply for, like I do hit, and it is the bare minimum, like ABB and like 2-1, etc. Like I hit all that. So like the door is very much open. But do you not think like yeah, you're right. The door is open, but it's just like how quickly it happens is just based on the fact that we didn't get that one extra A star about like stuff.
Because I guess like my perspective on that is it's basically just bragging rights anyway. Like saying you got 10 A stars versus saying you got 3 A stars in the A-level subject you chose. It doesn't mean anything in terms of your actual life. It's just how people say, oh, you got 10. Like, it doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, it does for like maybe 6 months for those bragging rights, but then even after that, no one really cares, do
they? Yeah. Like, you just mentioned now that law firms they ask about your GCSEs and A-levels, but like in engineering and banking and stuff that I've applied for, they don't even ask for that. They just say like, what did you get? Or like, what did you do? What school did you do? It's like the bare minimum as like filling in your details as opposed to like being carried forward into your application.
Yeah. Like, look, it's the first step. Like, it's literally just the first step. After that, it's basically like you as a person now. It's not what you've done and like your past and academic wise, really. But like, once you literally only ever need it to get past that like online application, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just a couple of losers now. Like, oh, we should have like screw those guys.
That's the one, man. That's the one. To be fair, you can just know someone who's rich and then get into a job that way. Nepotism is so much easier than A-levels.
Even then, like, it's not that. I mean, obviously, it's a big factor because you can get experience and whatever, but like to actually get the job, I don't think it matters too. Obviously, like the fact that you went to a private school or whatever, and then the fact that you have experience at like a big firm or whatever. But like once you actually have to do that interview, if you're a schmuck, like you're still not getting the job.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess now is the best time for like people like us to actually apply. And I mean, pandemic aside.
Of course, yeah. Like, I'm not gonna, pretend that everything's fair, but I think it's never been so easy.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah, for sure, man. I guess I just clocked the time. It's getting closer to 6. So, as like a closing question, what's something you would tell like your past self or someone who's just getting started?
That's a good question, man. I'd say do what you want to do as opposed to what you feel like people are going to judge you for. If that makes sense. Like I would have loved to do like a degree in something I actually enjoy. Like not that I didn't enjoy my degree, but like because like our group in St. Mark's wasn't exactly the most forgiving, and I guess I put too much emphasis on like if I do this, are people going to judge me? You know what I mean? And then even in like in uni, like I would have loved to join like more societies, but I mean like it was partly laziness, partly like what are people going to think if I'm in like some next or not anime society, but like the first thing that came to mind, just because it's the most embarrassing. Like, I mean, I probably wouldn't have, but like I would have like if I thought in a way that was like if I joined this, it's not a big deal kind of thing.
Yeah. I get you.
Do you know what that?
Go on.
No, it's like, I think I'd boil it down to like care less what people think, really.
Yeah. No, for sure. I was gonna say like I started thinking about it myself because like, even me, I was never insecure. I wouldn't say that, but I thought a bit, I cared a little bit about how people perceive me. But then I realized, like, I said to myself, like, how do I think about, Daniel, for example, who was talking to you, or like Gareth? I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't care about what you're wearing or what jokes you made. Outside of like how you interact with me in that moment in time we're together, like nothing actually means anything. And then I'm like, I wonder if other people like I don't care about others, so why the hell do they care about me?
Yeah. Like this is the first proper conversation we've had in like 4 years, and like for what it's worth, like it's the same with like literally everyone who follows you on like Instagram or whatever. And whenever I go to post a picture, I'm like, oh fuck, like it's like, do I look clapped here? Like what are people going to think? Are they going to think like, oh, this, that, and the other? But really, like within these last few interactions we've had, like it was just limited to that. Like past that point, I'm not thinking, I wonder what Jordan had for breakfast today.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. We've
That's serial, by
literally
the way.
just thought we've cured society right now.
That's what they call me in school, man, the therapist.
The rapist?
That's why we got most funny,
We
man.
didn't get cancelled before we got cancelled for that.
Honestly. Now we buttered it up nicely earlier by saying we're the most funny. So nothing we say to be taken seriously.
Oh, yeah, we're untouchable. Everything's a joke.
Exactly, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, bro. That's because I'm conscious of time. Those are all the big
Yeah,
questions I had for you. It was great having you on.
yeah, man, it was a great experience. Thank you.